some of the things that we're going to be talking about today is the new connection screen. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the user management portion of it. We're going to dive more into that. We're going to dive into actually how to create a live stream on your actual Roku channel so that you can actually stream to it. We're also going to go over kind of how the instances work with the users, and we're going to probably dive into some more businessy marketing kind of stuff too as well. And obviously we're going to get all the questions that we can answered when they come in. Now I'm going to move straight on into our actual application. Everybody see the application okay? Perfect. Okay, so let's go into the user management portion first. So a lot of you that have gotten the new install lately have kind of probably noticed, and I'm sure I've spoken to a lot of you about how it actually works. And so for this kind of instance, I'm going to actually I'm going to do a little trick here where I'm actually going to use our own kind of instance to create the username. This is not the best practice. It's something you can do, but it's always better to kind of get a hosting package for that particular user, because they're going to be able to remote into it. They're going to be able to do what they need to. They're going to have access to it with their username and password that you assign to them, and it's probably better for them to be able to have access to their own server rather than to have access to yours as well. So you want to always kind of give them the options. Not to say that you can't do this. Obviously, there's going to be some of you out there that are going to be working with people that you trust, that you're also going to have work with to manage your channels, and that's a different story on that part. So we're going to enter our IP in here. We're going to take our license key, and we are going to create a username and password, and we're going to create Brill, and then we're going to also make a password for this. I'm going to create a user. So my user's been successfully added. And as you can see, if we go over to this side over here, we're actually going to have, it looks like the window is actually probably not getting captured properly because it's doing just this window. So I'm going to actually kill this out, and I'm going to add the whole desktop. You can see it.
We're going to do this for you too. We're going to do a little, once we get you on a desktop, we're going to show you exactly what we're doing over here to bring you this broadcast. So we're trying to set some things up for you. And that way, I know a lot of you were asking to see the whole thing. So I want to make sure we show you the whole screen here. Just give us a second. And yeah, so there you go. You should be seeing it any minute.
Okay, so now you can see everything that's going on here. You can see our OBS. You'll be able to see our actual assigned channels. You'll be able to see all the pop-ups that come up as well. So I created the Brill user. We have another user here as well. But you can also create a channel for Brill, our user. So we're going to create a channel here. We're just going to call this new channel. We're going to create it. And what this is going to do is when you actually install, now there's a lot of you ask, can I install both versions of the software on the same computer? Well, you can't actually do that because they're both using the same foundational framework. So what you're going to have to do is when you actually install the select version on the computer, which some of you I know have experimented with already, you'll notice that they don't have the create or delete channels tab. And so they only get the channel that actually is in the drop down. And as you can see, I can switch over to Brill, and it's going to bring in all the channels that he has created for him. And for the actual user themselves, they won't get these two actual buttons. So they get the ability to upload content to the actual channel, and they also get the merge videos, they get the podcast, they obviously get the connection, but they're not going to have the third-party hosting. What you're going to supply to them is the IP address, the username, and the password. And that username and password you can change and make different if they forget it or if something goes wrong and maybe mistyped it or they've mistyped it and they don't know how to get in. You can actually go back to your users. You can bring down your drop down, and then you can also update that user. So the actual user portion is not too complicated. So we're going to move on to the live streaming portion now. So with the live streaming portion, what you'll actually end up doing, well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to select our actual username. And we're going to select our channel, Nano Express. And automatically it's going to create a stream key for you. Now this key is used to be placed into OBS, and I can show you exactly where that's placed, but initially it's going to create the actual server that you need and the URL that you need to point OBS to, or whatever streaming software that you're using. And you're also going to use the stream key to kind of allow you to do that. And this stream key is unique in this way because we don't want anybody else streaming to your channels. So only you know this, and only the people that are actually creating the actual live stream know that. So in OBS, I'll show you, and some of you are probably familiar with it. Under the actual stream portion here, it's going to actually go in, and you're going to select, you're going to paste in the actual URL, and then you're going to paste in the stream key, and then you're going to be good to go to stream to that.
I don't know how you got there. You didn't tell them the button that you pressed to get there.
Oh, okay. Well, you go to settings. You open up. You open up OBS, and then you go to settings. You'll go to stream, and there's your server, and there's your stream key. And as you can see, it's kind of like a password, so that's why it's grayed out. But we all know it's right here. We're going to give this one a title, and we're just going to call this new stream. Oops, a little typo there. New stream. We're going to give this a description. Live description for everybody. We're going to give this a tag. Tag 1. And we're going to browse to the actual thumbnail. And we're going to give it the same thumbnail here. And we're going to create this. Who knows what this could be? This could be a science channel. We'll just make this a science one because this looks like it's a robot down here. That's our live streaming thumbnail. And it's going to go in and it's going to actually add this to the actual feed itself. So now we've actually created this live stream. And now when we select our channel that actually has a live stream, you'll see that we have two. We have live stream and we have new stream. And when we go to load this, if you ever kind of need to know what the actual stream key is, you can grab it right here. You can load multiple streams that way. Then you're able to kind of grab what you need to paste it into OBS. And it's the same thing with the stream key here, or the stream name, sorry. And if you were to go over, and some of you that are familiar with the JSON feed, you can go in there and see that it's actually added it on in there. Live streaming's not too complicated with this. It's something that's pretty simple to use. Is you just create it and then you put the live key right in there and you put the streaming name in there. Okay, so now we'll go up to live connections. So with live connections, this is if you need to paste in, say, for Twitch or YouTube or all these other kind of streaming platforms, or if you want to actually give someone else the actual URL that they can point to see where they need to go. This is the MP4 version. You can see there's all these load in, and obviously the RTMPS is coming soon because that's going to be for the YouTube stuff or the Facebook. So this is where you kind of do it. What actually goes into the Roku feed is this HLS right here. This is the most popular live stream form that people use, but you can use any of these to actually live stream. So not too complicated there. So.
Someone's asking if they could enlarge the Nano software screen.
Oh, Chris Mann's asking if you can enlarge the Nano software screen. Right now, this is kind of a fixed screen, so you can't actually make it bigger. I can make it bigger for the live stream, but actually enlarging it on the desktop, we had a lot of people that actually had smaller resolutions, so we actually kind of accommodated it and shrunk it down so that it can actually accommodate for those resolutions. Oh, Steve Benson. Steve Benson's asking, what is OBS? OBS stands for Open Broadcasting System.
Hey, so, this is Brill, so here's what we're going to do. So, I'm just going to drive for a second, and Woody's going to read, because I can't keep up on Facebook. so I'm not really sure how to do that. So he's going to go over to Facebook, and I'm going to go over some of these features just one more time. And then if you have questions, just start hitting them on the Facebook board and we'll start answering them. So OBS is a software that is a broadcasting suite. You don't have to use OBS. There's a lot of them out there. OBS, though, is free and it's very easy to use. I'm going to show you some features on that because as far as Nano Express is concerned, it's very simple. I think Woody just showed you it. I mean, all you need to do to stream to any location is you need the stream key and you need the server name, right? And so we generate those stream keys and server name whenever you make a channel. And like you were saying, that will go straight to Roku or Fire, depending on which one you set it up with. We have ours set up right now for Roku, but once we have these two things, the server name and the stream key, you can go over here. The way this works is you'll see this is OBS. This is actually the open broadcasting service that Woody was talking about, but this is just one of several. And so he showed you the settings, but what happens is, I know everybody wanted to know about the mic that we use, if everybody can still hear me, and the camera that we use. So the camera is actually a Logi camera. It's just a webcam. It costs us 90 bucks, and we just have it faced at us. You can see down here, what we're doing is showing you our screen. So this side is the preview. This side's the program. You can see that here. So what that means is this is what you guys are seeing. If I was to put something else up here, so for example, if I was to go down here and hit plus, and let's say I want to add, let's make it easy, text, okay? This box is going to come up. I'm just going to leave it named text. I can name it whatever I want. And I'm going to hit OK, and that's going to ask me for what text I want. I'm just going to put hello, right? L-L-O. Or maybe I'll just put he. There you go, whatever it's going to say. So anyway, it just put this over here on my screen, this text. So you see I can make it bigger, I can see it smaller, but you won't see it. The reason you'll see it on TV is because you're watching my screen. But if I was to hit transition for this, it'll actually take it over to the main screen on TV, and now you'll sort of see it lay over the top, right? And so when I want to get rid of it, I can just click it on this side, hit delete on my keyboard and say, yes, get rid of it. And then it'll take it away. When I hit transition again, it'll transition it off the screen. So think of this as a media studio, if you will. And if you go down here and just hit plus and minus, you can keep putting all sorts of things in there, from your desktop to different cameras, to different audio inputs, whatever you really want to show, you can show just by messing around down here and adding the items that you want. He showed you the settings, but I want to go over that a little bit more because I think that you guys will have questions about that. So in settings, there is this general, which we basically leave alone. The stream he showed you is basically a copy and paste. Ours are grayed out right now just because we are currently in the middle of a live stream. So we have output, we have audio, you have video. So this is where you can set some, we can't set any of this right now, but if we wanted to set a higher or lower resolution, we could do that. If we wanted to change our audio and all that stuff, we could do all that as well. So figure settings is where you actually set up your video camera and, your stream. If you leave everything else in by default, it'll just automatically find it as long as you have your Windows drivers installed. The way you're seeing this side by side, this is called studio mode, okay? So it doesn't come normally in studio mode. It comes in this mode, which is, I don't know what you call it, it's the standard mode maybe. The problem is, when we use it, we like to have the side by side because I like to see what I'm doing and I like to see what it is we are showing people on the television. So keep this in mind. I can go over to our application. I can go to Live Connections. I can use a drop down. Let's say I want to go on Nano Express. Maybe I have Fire and Roku and Apple all showing up. And maybe I want to go on this stream. If I wanted to go anywhere, I just take the appropriate stream, the appropriate key, and I can paste it anywhere. In this case, I just pasted in OBS. The reason I did that is our server, our streaming server, combined with your JSON files or your XML files, will have these streams already embedded in it. So that's why it'll simulcast on multiple platforms. So basically, you have to understand there's two things going on here, right? The first thing is you're setting up a channel, and since this is connected to our hosting, it's creating these live streaming links. But they're not just live streaming either. I mean, you can use these, like anything that will take an MP4, you could take this and embed it on your website. You can put it anywhere you'd like. We also have a little embed you can put in there, and it's very simple to then stream or onto your website. And if you use RTMP, you can paste this into Facebook, and you can still paste it into here and hit all of them at the same time. So this gives you the information that you need to stream. Nano creates the channels and creates the streams for the live instances you need. Then you just need to program to broadcast on. And that's where something like OBS comes in. We chose this just because A, it's free. You can just go to, I believe it's obs.org. Just download it. The only thing you have to do when you open it up is click studio mode. That's important. And understand whatever you preview is not going to show on the channel until you transition it over. And then ours says stop streaming, but yours would say start streaming. You go into settings, put in the copy in the information, start streaming. What's ever on this screen is what's going to show on TV. So you can start moving things in and out. If you have, if you have videos, you can play videos in this thing. You can do anything you want to do and then just transfer it over. So the question is, I want to give this a minute to see what kind of questions you guys have on the board, because I really want everybody here to understand the difference between what a studio or OBS is doing and why our software is needed to stream to multiple sources. Does everybody understand that? I'll give you guys a minute to answer, but I just want to make sure everybody really understands that. Oh, and meanwhile, I do want to talk about this week's. Watch what I'm doing. I'm going to get rid of this desktop for a minute by just hitting delete. Right? I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to hit yes. I'm going to bring in a video source, right? So let me find video cap. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that one. I wanted video capture device, because that is actually our capture device. It's going to grab this. This is me sitting here, obviously, and I'm going to hit OK. It's going to make it small, but I'm going to make it bigger, right? And I'm going to move it over here, maybe. I'm just basically deciding how I want you to see it on TV, right? Because the minute I turn this over to transition, you're going to stop seeing my desktop altogether, and you'll just see this. So I'm going to hit a transition real fast here. And so what you'll see in just a minute is it'll actually transfer over to us. So we do, before we go any further, I know we're waiting for questions and things, but we do have a drawing. So the drawing is people that joined our newsletter. So the thing with our newsletter is this is not just going to be used for newsletter, but it's going to be used to announce upcoming instructional videos. It's going to, any kind of news we have for the members area and things like that, we're definitely going to post via video, of course, but we will then follow up with an email to everybody. We will not use the email to use it as some kind of sales tool or anything like that. It's actually just for information. So inside this container, we've got everybody's name. You can see it's named NanoX, and it has a ship. So what I'm going to tell you now is our software, you'll notice at the top of all of it, it has a version, like 1.0.6.0. And what we're going to do, so we have that, and it's going to continue to have version numbers until we get through the round of the Gold Club and the Silver Club. And then we're going to have the retail version. The retail version, though, we're switching from version numbers of version names. And our names are all going to be to do with space, because everybody over here is kind of geeky. So the first one that we're going to roll out, I will tell you after I look at it, because we had a little vote here. It is, the first version will be Hyperion. That's Hyperion. That'll be the first retail version. So the reason I tell you this is because next week's drawing, it's going to be everybody that's watched this, either live or replay. They have till next Wednesday, by end of day Wednesday or midnight Wednesday, to tell us what our first retail version will be, and they'll be entered in the next drawing. So the next drawing, we're going to switch it up a little bit. But for this drawing, when we draw a name, what we're going to do is give away 50 gigs of live streaming. So if you already have your live streaming, we'll add 50 gigs onto you, no charge. If you don't have it already, we'll add it on anyway. Still free of charge for the remainder of the year, just like we did last week. But next week, we're going to start switching up the presents or the gifts that we use for the raffles. So you definitely want to email us after this and let us know what our first retail version is going to be. And we'll be posting that question in Facebook after. So now I'm going to have Woody sneak in here, right? So Woody's again going to do the drawing, and he's going to read what it is. Then we'll take questions and go back to live streaming right after that. And then we're going to go down and do a breakdown of all the hardware we currently have and what we're using to stream. So Woody, draw a name.
Okay.
So here it comes. Go ahead. Oh, what?
There is no way.
Well, I mean, we have to say it.
Yeah, it was Angie Norris. That is honestly what came out. Now, you guys didn't put all those names in there.
No, look. I mean, look. There's a ton of names.
Look.
Honestly, there's a ton of names. Everybody's names are in here.
That
That is the weirdest thing.
That is
Okay, so what we're going to do, because it did become Angie,
yes.
we are going to grant Angie the other 50 gigs, but we're going to do a second drawing.
Yeah, we got to do a second drawing.
That is just too weird, and it just seems back-to-back crazy. So I'm just going to mix these.
What are the chances of that?
And I think you drew her name last week, too.
Yeah, that's got to be astronomical chances.
So we're going to now pick another name just so that, we know that it's definitely not going to be Angie, because hers is now out of the bucket. So here's who's going to also get 50
Oh my gosh,
gigs.
Angie Norris. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Zoran, I don't know how to pronounce that. Zovko.
Well, Zoran. So
Zoran.
if you are listening, you won. If you
There you go.
didn't catch it, I'm sure you'll catch it on the replay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you back to my screen, because I really kind of want to show you how, because you can't watch it, I'm going to go down to my plus sign and I'm going to put in color source, right? So this is what I did last week, and I'm going to pick a color, and I'll show you why this matters. I'll show you what we're going to do. So I'm going to pick a color, let's call it red, why not? And I'm going to hit OK. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting ready to show Zoran's name, and then I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. I'm going to put it up there, I'm going to add text, right? I'm going to add his name.
There he is.
Okay. So I'm going to add his name, make it a little bit bigger. Hold on. We'll get this. This mouse is being a little squirrely.
There we go.
Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to So I'm going to take this. I'm going to transition in a minute. You're going to see a red bar with a name come across. And on the top, and the way I did that was just the way I showed you guys. I just went to the bottom and hit plus sign, and I added a color square, and I added text. Then I hit transition, brought it over to this screen. So it's pretty easy. And actually, there was 2 winners tonight, which is awesome. Here's the thing: next week, whatever the gift is going to be, if we happen to pick one of these 2 names, we will pick a second entry again, because we want to make sure more than 1 or 2 people are winning these things. Because I know everybody's participating and everybody's trying. We really appreciate that. So what I'd like to do is, if you have any questions about the difference of why we have our platform, what it's used for, and how the hosting works, versus why we chose to use OBS, but we could use a different streaming platform altogether, we're going to wait for some questions. The first thing we're going to do is talk about our hardware, though, and our mic's fallen down a little bit, but I'm going to let Woody explain the microphone. You'll see it coming right into our camera. Bring it into the camera. So.
Sure, absolutely.
How about that? There's the mic. So I don't know if you can still hear us because I took it all the way over back by the camera, but this is a mic and just a quick boom that we have. So Woody, tell them about the mic.
This is an MXL 990. You can get them pretty cheap. They're around $100, and it does a great job of picking up all the sound in the room. You can get different types. You can get them with XLR. You can get them to be plugged straight in with USB. But you can use a whole kind of mess of mics. Any type of mic that you have. A good one. Another good one is by I think it's by Yeti, and it's called the Snowball. And that's another really good mic that you can get. But the nice thing about these condenser mics is they pick up everything in the room. I mean, this mic's all the way over here, and it's still picking up everything that you need to. So, and it comes through. I have another platform that it comes through. It comes through a thing called a Roland Octacapture. There's also Tascam makes good stuff as well that you can kind of also use as a medium when you're plugging in XLR cables. This is kind of stuff that people use inside of audio studios. So.
And you don't need any of that, honestly.
No, you can use the webcam mic.
Yeah, you can use a webcam mic. We just chose to do this. We tried to get a little bit fancier. We did try to set up a Nikon D810,
Yep.
but someone forgot to bring a power cord.
Yeah, that was you.
Yeah, it was me, and and we forgot to bring the power cord to it. So while we were testing and everything, we didn't understand why it went off, and of course,
Yep. And to be honest, the DSLR cameras are great because they pick up such a high quality HD image, but they're probably not the best thing to use all the time for video streams that are long, because of the fact that the sensor gets hot inside of them. You really want to grab something that's made for actual video.
Mm-hmm. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put up on our browser, like there's actually down by the plus sign, there's a place where you can put in a browser. So I'm going to put this in the browser, and I'm going to show this to you as soon as I get the mic to work. Sorry. We also decided to go wireless with mice and keyboard, and we won't be doing that again because it's kind of a pain to mess around with. Like it's okay. So I'm going to blow this up a little bit. It's going to take over the screen as soon as I can do that with this here mouse. Give me a second. So I'm going to transition this over to you. And what this is the cam, because we cannot really show you the cam, like I can't turn the cam on itself. But this is the cam that we're using currently, the one that you're looking at us through right now. And the mic that he pointed out, you could get that with the USB, and basically that cam plugged straight into the computer via USB, and then we can plug the mic straight into the computer via USB, and then we're good. So that's it. Now we were trying, like I said, to put in a fancier camera, do some fancier things, and more. You know, we have an intro and an outro that was made, and we wanted to demo all that, but time got the best of us because of the camera situation. So I didn't want you guys to wait any longer, so we just went ahead and started streaming. But next week, you guys will see a whole studio setup where we're going to live stream. We're not only going to live stream, we're going to do an intro and outro do a whole kind of show thing. So it should be pretty good. But really, live streaming is very simple. I mean, you get the information from Nano after you set up the channel, and you plug it into any device. If we went to Facebook and did live, type in, copy in the RTMP address, hit go, and you're ready to go. It's pretty simple. Okay, so with that, is there any questions before we close this thing up? I'm sure Woody will look at them. You gotta hit that.
Wow, I can't believe. And you got it again. And Zoran, that's good. Okay. Oh, there's a question down here.
It's like in Facebook. Okay, so like in Facebook, you can actually, there's a Facebook live streaming, and he can look it up real fast, and then we can post that as well.
Yeah.
We'll post that. We'll actually post a link to how to do that, because Facebook has a whole page on information on how to actually live stream through them. You can just search how to stream through Facebook, but he's going to post that as a response in Facebook, because that's a lot easier than me trying to explain it, but it's a pretty simple thing. So the next one, what's the next one down?
How would a church set up OBS to live stream a service?
So that's really simple. Basically, they would have a laptop. So the only thing they really need, and here's the thing too, keep this in mind, the only thing that you need to deliver a church is the live stream address and the stream key. So they can go download OBS for free. Just put it on a laptop. There's even downloads for Mac and Linux and all sorts of things. And then they just go to settings, and they put in the URL and the stream key, and they hit go, and they're going to be live on whatever platforms you made them live on, whether it's Roku or Fire or Apple or whatever you've done. So it's really simple for them to do, and when somebody gets used to this studio, there's a lot of fancy things it does. Like it can cut up scenes, and it can slide things in and slide things out. It's just really, really cool. It's a really cool application. But it doesn't multi-stream, you know? So the reason it can go to more than one location is because of our hosting, the way our hosting deals with, interacts with our application, Nano Express, by building these other streams and in one application. So for example, if you were to just put in, XML, but if you were just to go over and make your channel a Fire channel, it's actually putting the same URL that you're streaming to in the XML file for Fire. So when you go to OBS here, it has really nothing to do with Roku. It has nothing to do with Amazon, but that stream address we have embedded through Nano Express into both channels. So OBS doesn't really know where it's streaming to. It just needs to know that there's an address and the key matches, and it's just going straight to our hosting servers. Our hosting servers are then connected through Nano Express, which tells it to connect to Roku and Fire. So that looks like a paragraph. What's that one say?
Lou's asking, Brill, can you cover the notation if a customer decides to stop being a customer? They are still able to run their channel for free unless I'm missing something. Any way to prevent that?
Yes, so here's the deal. So there's a couple different ways to prevent it, right? So if let's say you have a customer. If you then to the customer, let's say I log into my Roku developer account, okay? And I create a channel called Customer A, okay? I give Customer A the select version of the software. They set up a channel. They can't. You have to set it up in your commercial here, because like Woody was saying before, they do not have the ability to create a channel. So you would create the channel, you would hit show feed, right, so new channel, that's right. You would, oh sorry, my mouse is having quite a time. But you would actually go to the home screen, you would show feed, and you would take that feed, you would log into your Roku account, and you would paste that feed URL in there. Okay? Now, since that feed URL is in there, because you created the customer, you created the channel, you created the feed, and it's your Roku account, so then you give the select version to your customer. So your customer, let's say he pays, that's great, you know, so he's posting to that channel, which is awesome. But since it's inside your Roku account, at any time you can send support a mail, a message, or you can go in there, and because you have access by editing videos to that customer's JSON file, you can just replace it with your JSON file. So then whatever you want to show up there can be up there, or you can temporarily disable the Roku account because you have the ability to do that because it's sitting in your Roku area. Matter of fact, you could sell that channel to somebody else and just delete inside here. If you delete the guy inside our Nano Express, you could delete that customer's channel. Let's say it was a city. Let's say the city's Columbus. But you could delete that Columbus, Ohio channel. You could make a new channel called Columbus, Ohio altogether. And then what happens is that you can just reassign it to somebody else. And the way you reassign to somebody else is quite simple. Just go into Roku and change the JSON feed. Go into Fire and then change the XML feed, and then all of a sudden the channel will be owned by somebody else.
Sheila's asking here, will their live stream link be the same each time? Yes.
Yes, it's built off of the channel name. It's built, then it auto-generates a key, and then it actually does a whole bunch of stuff that I won't get into on the server to actually build it out, and then it spits back all the different iterations of the URL, meaning if there's MP4, it's always going to be that for MP4 for that channel. If you were to switch the channel, like let's say they had more than one channel, when you switch channels, that URL does. Oh no, I didn't share my screen, but I can certainly share my screen. Hold on. I was just sort of talking. Sorry. Give me just a second. And I will show my screen. Transition. So here I'm back on my screen. So what I was talking about, since you guys can see my screen now, everybody wanted me back at the desktop, so now I'm back at the desktop. So what I was talking about is if I go into Nano and actually show the feed, this feed would actually be sitting inside my Roku account. So if I own the Roku account, then I have the opportunity to actually control the entire channel, right? If you let your customer, and this is a business decision, if you let your customer go into their Roku and have them set up a developer account, then you want to cancel them. It's going to be hard for you to do that because you can't get it out of their account. What you can do is you can change their JSON feed here to make it non-existent. And so what that would do, though, is that you would basically take over that channel, but that customer would still own it because it would be sitting in his Roku developer account. And hopefully you guys all know how to get into the developer account. Same thing when you actually go build the builder. I mean, if you go, the creator, right? If you go into your Amazon account and you create if you go into your Amazon account and you actually are the one who creates the channel in Amazon, when you log in with your credentials, you have control of that, not your customer. So your control is basically, you can always control the JSON because you as the administrator can overwrite that, but you can never take the channel away from them if they had it in their Roku developer account. So we suggest you put it in your account and you release the whole thing to them, including management of it. That's what we do. But if somebody has a different business model, they could certainly do that, but that's a risk that you would take. Okay, so he's going to look at more questions for us. See if we got anything else.
Refresh the page.
And you can also go over to, scroll down this. There's like 20 some comments. See 22 comments right there? Yeah, just scroll down those, make sure we got all those. Sorry, we're just reading through to see if anybody has any other thing we haven't really covered here. Okay, here, hold on, what's that? How do we live stream an already existing show we have? So okay, so you can live stream, but what you can do, that's True TV, Tanya, that's correct. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna have a scheduler when we send around the next round. Woody's gonna work with you. We're gonna have a scheduler in there, and basically, if you already have pre-existing shows, if you go into oh yeah, now I've got multiple. Yeah, it's so funny. If I go into live streaming, oh, I lost my train of thought. What am I trying to show?
She wanted to know if you actually.
Oh right, so
stream
then
a
we're
live
going to
show.
go into True TV,
Yeah.
and this, the way it's going to work, I can't do it now, but what I would do is I'd give it a name. Let's call it, Nano Week 1, right? And then I could browse all the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's just from a text file, and I'd call it that. And then over here, I'd select a station, and then I could just say, I'd still use these credentials, right? I would still use those, and I would say here, though, stream week 1, if that's what I named it. Because then what's going to happen is it's going to assign this week 1 playlist to that channel, and it could play one video over and over in a loop, or you could have like different videos. Like if you have a video that's an hour, you could put in 12 hours worth of individual videos. At the end of the 12th hour, it would just loop and start off with video number 1, and it would go through the whole day. And the thing is, the minute it turned Monday, 12:01, it would start running the Monday list. So that is what it is called. So scroll down, see if there's anything else.
I think we might, if we can find one more question here. Oh, that might. Is there a way to change the XML out of Amazon Creator? I don't believe that there is. Amazon's a little more picky than Roku when it comes to actually publishing channels. They actually force you to recreate the whole channel. You can't swap out the feed like you would with a Roku channel, unfortunately. And that's something that Amazon, I think, is designed by nature for people to reforce to create channels. So the answer is, unfortunately, you cannot actually switch it out the same as Roku.
So you'd have to go back and grab your XML again, go back to Creator. But so as you know, this month, we're actually doing live streaming, and we're going to do a bunch of series on step-by-step while we're not live streaming, because there's some things I can show you that aren't grayed out when I'm not live streaming. So we're going to be making videos, and so by next weekend, we're going to have a ton of videos step-by-step on how we live stream, because like I said, I really can't show you a whole bunch of that, because while it's already set up and running, I'd have to stop the stream to actually do a lot of this work. But we will make videos, and we will get those posted for you, so you can see step by step what it takes to sort of a behind the scenes sort of thing of this video. But you would then go into Builder, which is a different area of Amazon, just like the SDK is a different area. So this month, after we put to bed these videos that we're going to do for you for live streaming, make sure everybody's 100% with it, we are going to start building out the Builder and SDK modules. And then we will, then what we will end up doing is building it out. And I think you'll be able to, in the Builder area, you'll have a different type of account for Amazon. I think then you can start switching it out. There's a lot more features you'll be able to have. Same with the SDK, with selling and buying things. So all that's to come, though. But we're going to be programming it next month and probably launch that sometime. Maybe beta it. We'll get a couple. Whoever wants to volunteer, send us an email. It might be a rough beta test, at first. But if you want a beta test, we can even make you up a fake channel, and you can start playing with it and see what your experience is. And we'll probably beta the last week of June, going into July, sort of deal. And so if you want to be involved in that, just let us know, because you will in fact be the first to get it. That's the benefit. But the drawback is there will be a lot of work to do with it. Can you show one more time? I get a list of live links. Absolutely. So if you're at home when this loads, you go to live streaming, right? In live streaming, if you hit live connections, here's every one of your connections. But you see there's nothing here because we can have multiple channels and we can have multiple feeds. You have to say which links you want to see, because if I pick the Live Nano Express and I actually copy this, right, and this, I'd be broadcasting You See Me Now, like on the live channel. So it's very important you name this so you understand what channel it's on. Because let's say I pick Newsstream, right? You see, this is all the same, but you see my key changed. If I start streaming to this, you wouldn't see me on the live channel. You would see me on the new stream channel. That's the one we set up. So you have to be very careful when you actually are back here and you're going to create a stream. You better be very careful what you end up calling the thing, because if you call it something different that's you don't identify, you may not know what channel it's on. But all the links are here. They won't change per station. So you see, I'm going to go to live. You see, they're all the same thing, Nano Live, you know, of course, my name or whatever the key. And if I go and take this and see new stream, you'll see Nano Live keys all the same, right? But this is totally different. So it's the key that's important. But these are, whenever you make your stream, these things are built for you automatically by our hosting server, so you never have to know what they are, you never have to remember them. And I just want to cover real fast why RTMPS is coming soon. And that's specifically because of Facebook, because in about 30 days, Facebook is going to switch from RTMP to RTMPS. All the S means is secure. It's using TLS, but there'll be a different stream for that. And then when you post to Facebook, it's going to tell you to use your RTMPS address. All you would do is copy this new address in and that key, and you'd be streaming. So that is where you get the different links from. It's just sitting under live connections. Okay, so there's another one. I will attend a fashion show on Saturday evening, and they will give me a professional camera to do a live stream. Any recommendations? Okay, so for example, you know, my first recommendation is don't do what we did. Bring a power supply to plug it in. That's just a joke. We obviously should have, because it turns out that we have a Nikon, what is it, a D810, and it's going to use a lot of battery if I try to run it off battery. So either have swapped out batteries or have some power source for it. Depends on how long the show is as well. But DSLR cameras, most of them will stream. I mean, especially if you get into like the Nikon D series or Canons and things like that. They're really nice cameras. They're really nice streams. You see the quality of video we have, that's from a webcam. I mean, if our power wouldn't have died on our other cam, which we will do next week and have power on it and everything, we promise, you'll see there's a big difference. It's really nice. And then we can decide, because we can go back in OBS and say, yeah, we want a higher resolution, and it won't, the camera, depending on the quality of the camera that you get is how far you can push that. So to answer your question, if they give you a professional camera to do a live stream, all you really probably need is something to connect it to your laptop and run OBS off of it. What I mean by that is you're going to want to have some kind of either HDMI or mini HDMI port on the thing so it can actually connect up. Other than that, I mean, I don't know if cameras don't have a mic, or need some kind of mic or something like that. If you're trying to listen to take interviews or do cameras or whatever. What is the procedure for entering the next week drawing? Very simple. You just have to email. You can email me, Brill, at iranklocally.com, and just tell us what our first retail version is going to be named. And Woody will tell you one more time what it is.
Hyperion.
Hyperion. So that's what we're going to name the first one. And all you have to do is say, hey, I know you're going to name your first retail version. What is it, Woody?
Hyperion.
Hyperion. So then that'll enter you into the drawing. And we'll let everybody know Wednesday what the prize is going to be.
I think we have time for maybe one more question, and this one's coming from Steven. Is it possible to use multiple cameras with OBS? Yeah, it is. You can't obviously stream. If you have multiple cameras hooked up to your computer with OBS, it does give you the option to do side by side, and you can actually select multiple video sources. So right now, we just have the one.
Yeah, so on my desktop, I'm going to move it kind of into view. There's a plus here. You see, we have a display capture device. That's what you're looking at now. I have a media source. That's if I want to run a video. I also have video capture devices. So the problem that I'm going to run into is I only have one. So if I could call this video capture device 1, right? And I could hit OK. So it's going to say this is the video capture device 1. OK. And you see I can set that to a cam that I have. These are fake cams, not going to work. We use it for testing. But if you had multiple cams, the only thing you have to be careful of is that I select one cam here, I hit OK, right there we are. Now if I hit transition, it would be on there. But you see I can make this any size I want. And then I can move this over here, I can move it over here, move the angle of the camera, whatever, and I could be another video source here, right? So I could go to video capture device. I'm going to call it video capture device 2, right? I'm going to hit OK, and what it's going to make me do is pick my other webcam. Because you see, it's not going to let me stream on this one because I'm already streaming on this one. But if you had a second one and it's installed, you could pick it, right? This, like I said, is not real. I don't think it's running. So you're not going to see anything, but I could technically do that if I had another webcam. And I could even blow that up as big as I want and then move it over here and have side-by-side cams. So if I was actually at transition, which I won't, so you can watch my screen, it would transfer one video here, the other video here, if I had two cameras. I don't, but maybe next week we can hook up our Nikon, and then we can hook up this Logi, and we can put them side by side for you guys, and we can show you the quality of the difference of what it would look like. And then we can move it onto the TV just to show you. It'd be great for, we'll put them in two different angles so you'll see two different angles. So I mean, there'd be really cool things you could do. Plus, you'll see inside here, there's things called, there's a whole bunch of help on this, by the way, but you'll see there's all sorts of things like scenes, and you can just do a whole bunch. You can do a slideshow through the whole thing. You can do all sorts of stuff, right? So, yeah, if you lift the mic up a little bit, I'll be able to read some of the questions. There we go. So, multiple cameras. So I think we got that. Let's see what else we got. Hi, period. Question mark. Hi, Tanya.
Hyperion.
Hi, period. So spell Hyperion for them.
That's good.
I had to look this up as well.
Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. Hit enter. There's where we are. Hyperion. Okay.
Lou's asking, there is a link somewhere that tells us what each of the live connection links are used at.
So, okay. So,
There are a link somewhere.
I think you mean is there a link somewhere where you can
link,
tell
yeah.
where. So what happens is that it's really dependent on where you're trying to stream to. Like I said, like Facebook is RTMP. So if you have an account with Twitter or Twitch or Instagram or whatever, they're going to basically tell you, they're going to open it up and it's going to say, post your RTMPS address here. So wherever you try, there's there's really not a good list anywhere because there's so many places you can actually stream simultaneously with the software or just with any studio software, as long as you use our server, hosting server, you can get to a lot of different places. So yeah, there's no list per se, but anywhere you want to stream, there's going to be, it's going to say use Dash or use HLS or use TMP, or it's going to tell you what it was. And for another thing is you can use these same links like that MP4. Like I could take that MP4 and I could play it anywhere I'd like. You know, I can play it inside a website, like if you have a web portal. Great, Tanya. Yeah, beta test for us. Just email me, whoever wants to beta test our SDK and our builder, and hopefully you have something to sell, or at least you want to have a subscription channel or product to sell, because we will set up. We want to really test the throughput of being on TV, watching your show, pressing the buy button on our remote, and you actually getting the money to you, just to make sure end to end we're good, so there's no holes in it. So we really want a couple of people to have some items that they're looking to either have subscriptions or have a product to sell, or maybe they just want to do a pay-per-view event, you know, because obviously that works as well. So definitely email me, and we'll take as many beta testers as we can get. And another thing, you know, when we roll this out, I just want you guys to know there's no additional cost for any of that stuff. So it's not like we have to worry about, you know, you have to worry about, oh, they're going to have this feature and there's a one-time offer and all that nonsense. It's not going to happen. This stuff's just included. So it's just included in your service. So you're not going to have to worry about that at all. So whether you beta test or not, it's free.
Well, I think that's all the time that we have for this evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, email me, guys, because it's very important. And I'm going to transition this thing so you can sort of see us side by side here, what it would kind of look like. And now if I wanted to show you more of my screen and less of me, I could transition again. You know. So you can do a whole bunch of really cool things. But if you have any questions, you have any concerns, we'd love to hear them. You can send us emails. You can post on the board. These live streams can go on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have unlimited bandwidth if you host through us. And, you know, it's just a matter of learning the tricks and stuff. So what we suggest doing, just in closing, is make up maybe a play channel and start live streaming to it and just messing around with it. And we're here to help you. So if you do that, you can schedule a time that we'll get on our Roku TV and we'll watch you and talk to you at the same time and let you know what we're seeing. If you need our assistance doing that, we'll be happy to do that. I know some of you don't have Roku devices. We also have Fire devices. So if you are doing a Fire channel, we'll be doing Fire next week as well. So you guys will be able to see us simulcast. We may even stream on Facebook, Fire, and Roku. We're trying just to add, we're just adding venues every week. And we will try to use the dual cameras and do 2 different angles. Maybe we'll have 1 camera on me, we'll have 1 camera on Woody, and we'll just sit here and go through it that way. So, again, we appreciate it. Woody slide here and say goodbye to everybody.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
And we really look forward to growing this thing with you. It's amazing. We really try to get to everybody as fast as possible. You know, you got all of our phone numbers, you got all of our emails. So whatever you need, just reach out and let us know. All right, and let us know on the Facebook board how the live stream went. This is our second one. You know, we're programmers over here. The whole house is full of programmers, so we're not really in front of the camera type of guys, and so we kind of clunk around with this stuff. But you know, we're gonna put some intros and outros, and we're gonna have some really cool stuff coming up in the next series of videos. I'm sure our production quality will get better and better and better. Honestly, you guys have a lot better production quality. We've seen some of your guys' videos and stuff, and they're just amazing. So I think with your guys' skill, once you have learned OBS, and you can learn how to bring in all the videos and everything else and use Nano together, I think once you guys learn the point and click, you guys are going to be amazing. And I think it's going to be an exciting ride. So again, we appreciate you. If you need anything from us, just let us know. See ya.
Thank you.